Maine Governor Paul LePage is denying that he ever called for the execution, arrest, or hanging of his political opponents. And the reason he had to utter what is, as of yet, the weirdest political denial of 2014 is this excerpt from the first chapter of a new book about the governor written by local writer and blogger Mike Tipping. Tipping describes a series of meetings the governor had with the Maine Constitutional Coalition, a far-right group associated with the militant anti-government sovereign citizen movement. Sovereign citizens call themselves patriots, but the FBI considers them a growing domestic threat. According to Mike Tipping's reporting, LePage, over the objections of his staff, met with the group 8 times in 2013 and heard them out on a number of issues, including, per the participants, the sale of American citizens as chattel to the International Monetary Fund and the Department of Homeland Security's plot to buy up ammunition for a coming war against the populace. One of their top priorities was to get rid of the state's Democratic House Speaker and Senate President, whom the coalition accused of committing treason. Believing the state's court system to be illegitimate, they reportedly wanted to try the lawmakers in a common law courts where the people would decide their fate. On a radio show co-hosted by a member of the coalition, here's how they described the governor's response.
We also discussed this there, that as far as I know, the penalty for high treason hasn't changed in 100 years.
Right.
And I didn't say it, but the governor said it. I never opened my mouth and said the word. The governor looked at us and looked at his buddy and said, they're talking about hanging him.
Governor LePage told the Bangor Daily News, quote, "I was never in the room where execute was used. It never happened. We did not discuss execution, arrest, or hanging." Governor's words, we did not discuss execution, arrest, or hanging. While the substance of the meetings may be in dispute, Governor did not deny they took place. After giving Democratic lawmakers the silent treatment, LePage met 8 times, reported at least an hour each time, with a group that believes things like this.
The coming Holocaust will be against Christians and not Jews this time. Older adult homosexuals to recruit younger ones into that lifestyle through homosexual rape. It happens all the time. There's lots of triggers that these MK-Ultra monarch mind slave controllers use to trigger their mind-controlled subjects to do their bidding. And one of those is the song Over the Rainbow. The TSA is the Gestapo.
Joining me now is Mike Tipping, author of As Maine Went. I don't know where to start, Mike. Who are these people? Who are these people? What do they want? And why, in the Lord's name, is Governor of Maine meeting with them?
Well, that last one is a question only the governor can answer. But they're a group of individuals with, as you just heard, some very strange and potentially violent beliefs. They're part of a national movement, not an organization, but a philosophy that's anti-government and believes that the federal government and the state governments are coming after them, and they need to defend themselves.
And your reporting indicates that he met with these folks 8 times and over the objections of his staff. What was the concern of the staff about the governor meeting with them?
Well, his legal staff eventually wrote a 5-page memo to him saying that the strange legal ideas of the Constitutional Coalition, weren't actually true, didn't have any actual basis in law, and finally got him to stop meeting with them. I imagine the staff was in a tough spot. I can only sympathize with their situation when the governor was trying to meet with these people, and they were trying to pull him back.
This was during a time in which the governor, if I'm correct, refused to meet with Democratic lawmakers. Isn't that right?
That's right. He refused to meet with the very people he was discussing with these folks, about treason. He stormed out of a meeting with independent legislators, pounding the table and swearing at them because he didn't like what they were saying. He actually refused to show up to his own budget presentation, but he found time to meet with these people 8 times over the course of a year.
Now, this is a governor who has been called America's craziest governor by Politico. He has developed a reputation for behavior that I think a lot of people find strange. At the last poll, has him only down 4 points against Mike Michaud, who's the Democrat who's running against him. I can never figure out what exactly are Mainers seeing in Mr. LePage.
Well, he has a core group of supporters, and obviously this is a three-way race, so that's a significant factor that he only needs a smaller amount to win. But they definitely see him as someone that says it like it is and gets things done, and they often see these kinds of controversies around him as a sign that he is shaking things up in Augusta. But the difference between the difference between this and previous controversies with the governor is it's often been kind of a humorous thing almost. He'll say something crazy or do something a bit off kilter, but this is definitely more sad and troubling.
Finally, Mike, you work for a group that advocates for Democratic candidates in the state of Maine. Is this just a partisan attack? I mean, is the reporting stand up on its own?
Well, the great thing about this is you don't have to take my word for it. There are copious documents. There's audio recordings, obviously, of people describing the meetings in great detail. And there's also, we learned yesterday, apparently the governor did take notes. He originally said he didn't at these meetings. He wouldn't provide them to a freedom of access request. But now he did. He says he's going to release them, but they are in a secret code that only he understands. So we'll have to see what comes of that.
Maybe they will be unlocked by Over the Rainbow. Mike Tipping, the book, again, is As Maine Went. Thank you. Coming up, why the Hobby Lobby decision is actually a problem for Republicans. I'll explain ahead.